Okie dokie. We're getting started. Awesome. Squish, you silly Grace. So, firstly, it's Porcore Music on the music, and we are in fact just going to restart this one. Since this is what we're going to be using background music today, and this one probably next. In fact, I can probably... What's this do? Aha! I can add things to a little queue. How wonderful. If we look at speedrun.com, we can see these are my previous ones, but then pending here. Over in our pending tab, you'll see that I have uploaded speedrun. I don't think 2 days ago is correct, is it? Oh, thank you, Grace. Because it was August 3rd? That's not quite it. Pretty sure. Hang on. Pretty sure it was just yesterday. Because yesterday was Monday. Right. Okay, so that actually is just fine. So I don't know why it's doing the thing it's doing. Let's unpause that. But yeah. That is our speedrun from yesterday. And I'm still pretty proud of it. We got ourselves the thing. Now, I've only done a little more since yesterday. I extended the fog, obviously. It looks like this without the fog and this with it. So, I think it's a very good effect. And I think the fairy lights Grace suggested yesterday are also great. We have 5 trees so far. If anyone has any suggestions on how to improve them, I'm of course listening. Looking very nice, you think so? That's good. I have my reservations about it, especially this tree here. Keep thinking I need to do something to improve it, but I can't tell what. So, tricky. I'm a little tempted to take this one and copy it over to there. Right? And then just clean it up a bit. Because people wouldn't notice, would they? They probably would. I just wanted to look at it a little, see if it was a good idea. We're gonna look at adding another tree. It's going to group this with itself. This is going to be T6. Whoops. That's not meant to happen. Alright. And on T6 top layer, start planning out the place of this tree. Right? I am really worried about this piece. I get the feeling that I won't do it very well. I can't tell if I want this to be a wider tree or not. Probably not, right? Because it's so close to the other one. Maybe it's an eensy beensy tree. Let's see. When compared to mine, you'll be overjoyed. No, I'll probably like yours. Depending on how it goes. Whoops. I wonder if I can just disable those. Those checkpointers. Okay, well. Here's what I'll do. I will disable rulers. Alright. Now it's impossible to get those up. Good. I'll bring them back up when I need them. You know, but right now I don't need those rulers. So it's fine. Now, it's always a bit of a struggle to figure out which brown it is I want. I'm also really unsure about all of the shading on these. Like, it's so uneven, you know? Like, these ones over here have a bit more of the lighter brown mixed in, while these first two are pretty solid on this side. Goodness. So tricky. I feel like I'm not putting enough effort into them. Doo-doo-doo. Like that, perhaps. I don't hate it yet. Is this the darkest? Yes. Alright, there. Yeah, I'll choose. You want them, then go back and see what you can do to improve them. Don't pick the specific ones. Yeah, I haven't been so far, and I feel like that's a problem, you know? Because look at these. Especially like this second one here. I don't think that's how I want things to go. Like, if it's properly behind it, then wouldn't the light be on it anyway? Adding a knot or something to a trunk. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Especially this big one. It'd be 4, right? 3? A little woodland animal? Oh, that'd be adorable, huh? Trouble is, I'm not quite sure where to put that. Also, I feel like whichever we do, it all depends on whether or not we can make any of the rest of it look good, you know? Knots usually start a bit higher, like shoulder height on a human. So are you saying I need to move some of the ones that are there? Or some of the little detail things? Shoulder height for a person would probably be like about here, I'd imagine. I need actually kind of a reference for a trees, not... Okay, yeah, so basically what I was imagining. I was kind of doing this sort of simple shape. You don't know you're playing Lorf. Hey, Johanna. I've been kind of using these shapes as the shorthand for knots, you know, because they're a little bit like it, but not quite. So they stay really stylized. Where are we? Over here, good. And then... I do hope you're doing really well. Hello, you trees and non-trees. Those are the two kinds of people, I'm pretty sure. Hi, Ivor. Yeah. Good to have you. hard to tell exactly how much detail I should be putting into these things, you know? It is, after all, background. But at the same time, I want it to look like really good, you know? And right now, I'm not so sure it does. It's definitely textured, which is good. This bush here is probably the best part of the whole picture right now. This second bush here is probably the second best part of this picture. The grass is probably the fourth best part. These little fairy lights are the third. And then this tree here is the worst part of the picture. Definitely. Yeah. That sounds about right. And the moss is pretty low on the list. I don't think I did very well with it. I do like this background part here. Bark tends to be flakier if you want to rough up the edges. That's true. I don't know entirely what you're saying. But I will do my best. You know? I have a little idea for how I can represent that. Can do kind of like this. Like little pieces poking off of it. We'll see if we like it, right? A few bees have flat bark, but it's unusual, really quite rough. Usually really quite rough with lots of splits and stuff. Yeah. So if I rough it up a little like that, that kind of looks better. Darker shade is doing that effect, but the edges are clean. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Okay. I'm gonna do all the, I'm gonna actually leave the part with the moss flatter, just as though it's like smoothing it out. But if I do all the edges for the bark pointing in the same direction, then it might look a bit like it's doing proper. Absolutely. This could be a good thing. Good idea, Grace. Add it again. Oh, there. Except these things aren't quite visible enough. Which means that over at T2, moss tends to grow more on the shady sides. True. I really should have done moss on a new layer, huh? Just some refinement suggestions for refinement are not good. I'm not gonna change the existing moss because I don't want to. And then when my high school art teacher who lives in my head comes by and tells me that it's terrible, I'm joking, they would never, because they were actually a really good art teacher. I know. Oh, this is the wrong ground. That kind of does the thing. Okay. I haven't done anything on the wrong layers, right? Right. Oh boy, I cannot. Because my high school art teacher, they always pushed us, you know? Which was objectively a good thing, because none of us were trying hard enough. Well, I mean, I obviously was trying, but wasn't doing it quite right. So their suggestions were always good, you know? Really push the dark values, make it the blacks as black as they can be, and the lighter parts as light as they can be. Is this even the right layer I'm working on? Where am I? That is completely wrong. There we go. But yeah, it's just... It really did not help my perfectionism. The fog looks good, but what if you add more trees in the back to add even more depth to darkness? Yeah, I agree. I actually triple agree, even. The only problem I was having was figuring out how to shade them. Because I'm not sure how many of them should have light on them, or how many of them should be like what opacity to put things at. I was wondering if maybe the strategy was to like put in the trees, but at like half opacity, so we still get this really fun wilderness texture here. Need more shrubbery to help put trees on different levels. I agree. It'll just be a matter of first bush is really good at pushing tree 3 ahead of tree 1 and 2. I agree as well. I'll just have to think about that. That'll be something I get to as soon as I finish roughing them up a bit, like you said. Tree 4 should be tucked behind 3 and 5. 4. Alright. I can do that. I wonder how, though. I'll think of that in a second. But like I was saying a moment ago, my high school art teacher did really great for, you know, getting us to actually do good art. But it did not help my perfectionism much, because it very much encouraged the kind of it'll never be good enough thinking. It was disappointing in its own ways, but at the same time, he was a really good teacher. You can also throw up a branch or two. Don't have to. I'll go with the sapling or two. I agree. I was planning on putting branches on kinda later. I do think a sapling is good. I just don't like drawing leaves much because they're difficult. But you know, doing everything the easy way is not the best, so I will do that. As soon as I finish roughing these things up a little more, I will get to these things. I think that this little texturing is a good idea. So, thank you for that. Strong brown. Okay. They definitely look a bit rougher. I probably still did it wrong, technically speaking. But it'll be okay for now. It's only okay. I like a painter would, and that's a valid technique. I don't know if it is. At least I don't know if it is for me right now. If I zoom out all the way like this, it looks really nice, you know? That's the thing, things tend to look best from like 18 steps away, so. I guess for you guys on stream, it must look good with the low quality. You look best from no distance, you silly Grace. Okay. So we have all this now. We wanted shrubbery to put things in different which ways. Add layer. Now, let's see. So you say tree 4 here should be behind 3 and 5. So what if I did so by trying to put one of the saplings you talked about in? Or at least tried to. I'm gonna have to actually look up a sapling because I need a reference for that. I really hate to put things in front of the fairies. I guess technically I could put it behind the fairies, you know? Oh wait, technically it's... Can I always add more? I can, that's true. If I go like this, you know? The way I saw the thing, the sapling looked really like this. Oh wait, but that's behind that too. Okay, I give up. It's just gonna have to be in front of the fairy light. Oops, oops. So the saplings I saw pictures of just now looked kind of really thin at first. I mean, I don't actually know what kind of sapling it was. But it'll be fine. It doesn't really matter if it's super accurate to whatever kind of area it is. If the fairy lights flocking around it like it's special or something. Good. Good. Let's grab some of these greens like we did with the... I want this to be behind... Let's see, 6, 3. I want this to go behind 3, right? But then I want 4 to be behind that. Alright, and then I'm gonna make this sapling 1, so we know which one it is. And we can keep going on it. Your turn out, unfortunately, I'm still no closer to naming your current chip. Also, hi, QR. Thank you! And also, I hope that goes well. Good luck. Let me... We're going to overwrite T4, lower the opacity so we can see this tree very well. I really don't know how to draw things, so if this ends up looking like a complete and total mess, I apologize. I think that kind of sticky like this, you know, twig-like, is good for a sapling. Kind of looks like an olive tree if I'm not mistaken. I'm also gonna have to make sure that the branches here are very well defined against this one here. But I'm prepared for that. Alright, what do we think? Maybe I even push these a little bit farther back so they cover up this a little more. It doesn't look awful. Trunk needs a little texture. Yeah, of course. No worries. I gotta make sure the green is on top again. Maybe? And then what I want to do is add another layer, right, and add a bit of a darker green. Feel nice to you? Okay. I want to add another, like, darker green, maybe even a darker green. And then sort of like, not super hard, but I just want to like faintly fill in this backing, you know? So you get the impression that's a little bit solid, but not like super solid. Here, we might put this one back a little more. And that also helps differentiate the branches. Maybe? I like it well enough, I suppose. You're doing your last bit of work and can't pay great attention. That's fine. I probably shouldn't be asking for opinions at like every single step anyway, so. Well, that's right. We should also probably add a little bit of sun on it, right? Hello, Jaden. No? Good to see you, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. You got just a little bit of that there. And I have a lighter green I can put on some of these leaf tips. Yes, hello. One of my favorite things about trees is how the light, like, I don't know if diffusing is the right word, but basically that, right? How the light goes through the leaves and lands on some and not others. Such interesting patterns. You know, so I'm hoping I can get like a little bit of that effect going here. So you can kind of tell which leaves are in the right way for that. I don't know if I want to do all of them so much, but it's a little bit. Brightens it up a little. Get a bit more of an impression of how things are meant to go. And I can kind of like, not necessarily randomly or anything, but want to like emphasize that the light's over here, so I'm gonna put a bit more emphasis on the sun on this side, right? Okay. And then maybe I put some sun on these branch tips as well. Alright. I like that. Might be standing out a little too much, but I kinda like it anyway. Gonna put some shadows on there as well, the same way. Even behind this one a bit. Alright, that's kind of nice. That's kind of pleasant. And it's almost still a nice thing that this light is going through. It's a little bit like a Christmas tree. Not bad. It's not bad at all. Now... Let's see. I'm not sure whether I want to continue putting in trees over there, or if I want to continue putting in shrubs and things over here. I'm gonna look a little bit back at Twitch chat because Grace has given some good suggestions. There's definitely more trees in the background, like behind these ones for the depth. For first bush is really good at Before should be tucked behind. We're working on that. Can throw up a branch or two. Yeah. And saplings we're working on. Let's see. Let's try some branches. Right, let's try some branches on some of these existing trees. We'll start with the very first one. I don't want to put this on a new layer, just in case I don't like it at all, right? I start putting some like this. I'd probably put the texturing going off like that. It needs a clear point where it meets the tree though. I'm hoping I can use some of this shading. It would probably actually have leaves on it as well, now that I'm thinking. Let's put a little bit of shadow. Right, like that. And then like this. And then this technically can go up here. But we're probably going to be putting putting leaves over it anyway, so. It's a start anyway. I do think that this should be casting a bit more of a shadow on the rest of the tree that's nearby. Alright. More back here looks natural enough. I don't think it quite fits in yet. I think I want to add some more like this. Got a couple of you want an opinion. I'm not quite sure what you're saying there, sorry. Got a couple moments if you want an opinion. Okay, yeah. Be a little bit kind to me, but not too kind about this branch, because I don't like it right now. And I'm doing my best, but you know how it is. It's too fuzzy? Yeah. I'll have to agree with that. I'm not gonna necessarily... Here, let's start by, like, making it not at all fuzzy, right? Or at least much less. And then we'll reintroduce some. The problem is I wasn't pressing down enough, necessarily, with the brush. Okay. Maybe actually I just restart now that I think about it. I was not a big fan of it. Alright, so let's try that again. You're pushing yourself, you don't have to erase an entire file altogether. True, true. And we're going to try and put some of the same things, but like, better, you know? I think we might need like a darker brown just here to really show where the like core shadow is. Make it easy to tell where things are. That's probably the move, right? Is to blend it into there like that. Okay. So it's not bad so far, necessarily. I do think that this needs to be less curved. So if I just stick it out like that. I kinda hate it still. From back here, it's okay, but I think it's actually too dark in there now. Maybe I sort of... cover up a little bit of that. I think it needs a little bit of a transitional shader. Bottom of the joint isn't curved enough. Not quite sure what you mean. Is it possible to elaborate more? That shading looks a little more natural. If the light's like over that way, it makes more sense for it to fade back to this before going to that. The base of the branch into the trunk. On the top side, it looks good, but the bottom is too sharp. See, I'm gonna look up some pictures of trees, right? And we're going to compare mental notes a little bit. Because that's how I imagine it should go, pretty much. Specifically for like a pine tree. But I'm going to probably end up agreeing with you. Just letting you know. Yeah, like this, you see? Hang on. You're on 360, so not really. Fair enough. You see? Kind of like this. That's as much as I can zoom in, so... I guess technically I should be making branches smaller and more abundant. But I don't think I have to make them, like, super realistic. This is just what I was thinking of. Might look okay for the tree, you know? Just a... Tricky to say which I prefer, though. The thing is that evergreens look ridiculous without the green because of how the branches work. Think so? But I don't necessarily think that this looks ridiculous, right? I can still do the thing you requested. And then we'll just, like, you know, it'll just work. That was the biggest thing wrong in the end. It would be incredible. Yeah. The way you phrase that makes me think it's not the biggest thing wrong, though. I still kind of want some of this darkest in there. Yeah, I phrased badly. If at the end we're still talking about the branches because the artist said. So what do we think of this, though? I've curved it more in the style you suggested. Right? And I like this little darkest shading I've put there. The dark patch seems too much, you think? From back here you can't tell at all, you know? And it helps to differentiate which part is, like, the connection, which part is the branch. Fair enough. If you still think you don't like it, then I can absolutely change it, because it's not that big a deal. But I kind of like it personally. You know, I'm just not, like, married to the idea or anything. You nitpicking? No, that's fine. Nitpicking's good. I do think we're going to want another branch on the other side, though, to balance it. Or maybe, yeah, no, definitely. Because that way we're also helping to differentiate the two trees. Because you mentioned yesterday being a little bit unsure which was which. I'm going to lower the opacity on this one a bit for now. Alright. And this one also helps us define a bit of the scale of these. I don't quite know how big the branches should be. Obviously, if you want them to be very big trees and very big branches, makes a lot of sense, right? But then, I mean, that just looks ridiculous. So it's a little trick of finding out exactly where to put it. You know? I guess it doesn't have to be a huge tree or a huge branch. Could be something that's like broken maybe. Stops there-ish. Someone with pretty much zero artistic skill, you think it looks great? Yeah, that's the trouble. Is that I'm trying to see how I can make my high school art teacher happy, and they're not here, you know? They'd probably give me a lot of suggestions I didn't like, unfortunately. Thanks, Sharky. Also, hello! Bye! I love you! Be worse. Perfection is the moral enemy of progress. Yeah. Tricky. I love you, best girl. Tricky thing here is that this is already in the shadow, you know? Maybe it's meant to already be the shadow color. Like, almost entirely. And then I just like lighten it up a little in the middle. Technically that makes more sense, but it's not visually appealing. When it gets a little more away from the tree itself, I'm gonna line it back up again. And have it lightest at this point out here. It's not bad, but it's not great. I think we need our darkest. For this shading here. Okay, getting there I think. This needs to come in a little bit more. Now it looks a bit too much like a bird. I can put a little more shadow on it. Might even bring some darkest a bit farther in. Just to really emphasize how dark it is. I don't like it. I think it's stinky. I think problem could be that it's just too big at the start. I guess that could be the start of the problem. It's obviously a bit of a complex one to fix up. I want to trend downwards a little still. Not overhand downwards, but underhand downwards. So if I go like that maybe. Alright, that's not terrible. I mean, it kinda is, but I'm gonna pretend it's not for a little bit. Alright, so it does in fact look bad. Maybe if I put this back. I guess it's a little better if it has that second tree behind it. But it does not look much better. Let's be honest. It is... Oh boy. Goodness. To make this top part darker anyways. Well, now what if made this travel up the branch a little bit? No. Me fully tree now. You silly. Oh, I see you've changed your little Pokemon to be Revenant, I think it is. Let's double check that. Yes, indeed. That's pretty silly of you, you know. Let's bring this back over here. It just does not look good. Alright, let's start over with this one. Completely over. Maybe. Drifting to that goat. I'm pretty sure it's a tree, but... Alright, so that branch was not good. Let's see if instead... I wonder... You'll bully me? Silly Grace. Oh, it's hot up here. What if I tried to make it a little bit three-dimensional and had the branch coming a little bit at that angle? Let's try it. Right, so we're going to have it arc like this. Probably foreshorten it a little. Probably goes down like this. I checked, it's perfectly reasonable up there, except when you are. Ah! You clearly didn't check then, because it's California and it sucks constantly. Now then, let's see about some oldish. Right? Because if I go and do something like that, in fact, something like this, seems to me that not unreasonable to say. That a little bit of the light might catch it when it gets a little farther out. You know, like just to there. Okay, that's actually not terrible. Right? It's not a terrible start anyway. Only problem just now is that it's too even. You know? Like the colors don't have this texturing. Back here we can absolutely draw in. Oh, that's on the ice still. Silly. And this is also still on a lighter color. Then okay. Maybe we're getting somewhere, or maybe I'm insane. Probably a little of both. I think the real trick would be to erase all this, right? Just get rid of it. No more. You only see good work, man. You just don't get it. If I curve these strokes like this, at least for the most part, then that direction might come across a little better. Be nice, my friend. Oh, that is it. That was good. You silly Grace. Silly Grace. I think that's a little bit too much. Because in this part, there's a lot of even with larger removals. So if I just smooth it out a little bit. That's the other thing it's missing, is some chunk details. And then I do think that it does need a little bit of shading. Just like so. And then right now it's a little bulbous. Might not be a terrible thing overall, but I think it comes in too quickly over there. I like the direction it starts with, but it doesn't keep going that way. So. Okay. It's still bad. So yeah. Yeesh. Oh, really self-critical? No, no, no. You just don't see what I see. I'm actually the right amount of self-critical, I'll have you know. You don't see what I see. Hey, Johanna. Thank you, thank you. I think this actually needs to be a smaller shadow, not a bigger one. Alright. And then I think also up here needs to lead into it more. You know? Make it really clear that there's a branch there. Not quite like that though. Maybe a bit like that. Texture teensy weensy. Can't really put too much shadow over it is the problem, because that wouldn't make much sense for the shadow to be on top for no reason. Oh boy, we might be doomed. Might be a doomed endeavor. What I'm noticing is, so maybe we have there be one branch. Maybe this tree is better off with just the one. Alright, well, notch there. Showing that there was a branch there and it fell. Yeah. Because, yeah, 2 branches is not working out. It's fine. It only kinda looks... Alright, it's going over here. Because, see, I'd really like to have something differentiating the 2 trees, right? But the problem with that is I can't draw. I'm trying to a little more directly copy this first one. The problem is that the shading is so different. You know? If I go like this... First off, I don't know where to make the branch end, right? I could have it just like mysteriously disappear behind this next tree, I guess. That just looks too long though, doesn't it? depending on how tall the tree overall is. We can try like this for a bit. And then it probably won't go well. But this is why it's on, you know, not the main layer for this tree, right? Okay. So it's obviously gonna have shadow there. Obviously this has gotta come around. We'll clear up for the vine there, or the moss. See, that's the tricky part there, is that the whole thing is in shadow at first, right? Okay. I guess that's an improvement. I still want this branch to be, like, dark, though. So, maybe I... put a little more of that on. And then maybe instead of the usual, I use the darkest for our backing. Make a huge difference, it seems pretty solid. Fair enough. Maybe I hide this a little bit pulling away. Right on. Probably doesn't make any sense at all to put that there, huh? To have it be the darkest part there, because that's like the border of the two shadows. It should be Thursday? Why should it be Thursday? What's happening Thursday? Well, that's when your break starts, isn't it? Your vacation? Or am I wrong? So it could be high. I know. Yeah. I still don't like it. Still doesn't look great. Break time? Oh yeah. Alright, you guys will have to just tell me what you think of this while I'm gone, because then I'll be able to fix it when I get back, because it looks bad. So, I guess you won't be able to see it while I'm gone, but yeah. That's just how that is, I guess. Okie dokie. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah. So, now we're looking at this again. And I still don't like it. Very obviously right now, this isn't gonna work. Just because not only do we have the branch there now, I'll also just fit. I think that these shadows are a bit too ill-defined, so let's solidify a little. Then now that looks too solid, but instead of fixing with the lighter one, let's try and fix it with the darker one. And then put more of this on top of that. Just so that the shadow darkens. Like, it could be worse, is the thing. But it could also very much be better. See, now when you do it like this, you can really see how it does not like being in front of this other tree. Oh boy. Bottom part of it's fine being, yeah, of course, but it's this top part. Can obviously try just painting shadow on it. I mean, does it even make sense being purely shadow? Obviously not. Goodness, this is just tricky. I do think it has the problem that Grace said about the other one, where this should go a little more like this, perhaps? No, that is actually much worse. Perhaps a little like this. I mean, maybe some light on the top of the right half. Like, actual light? That doesn't make much sense with the direction of the light source, you know? Because the sun isn't above, it's to the side-ish, you know? Because it's like sunrise, basically. Or sunset, however. So the sun's like, not quite horizontal, but not vertical enough to be on the top of everything, you know? So that's part of what makes it so tricky, is because the light source is so finicky. Because the reason I was trying to put some on there before when was because I was trying to put at a this angle, and so it was moving forward a bit and going past the trunk here, catching the light on the tip there. But right now it's basically completely in shadow from my estimation. I could try pretending, try lying. Maybe the problem is that the shadow doesn't extend far enough on the main tree, huh? So maybe if I bring this out a bit more. I think the branch looks far enough to the right to leave the trunk's shadow. Yeah, it leaves the trunk's shadow, which is why it doesn't stay this darkest color, or this darker color, middle dark. That's why it doesn't stay this whole thing. It goes to normal brown. But it's not in... Hey, wait a second. My on-screen chat isn't updating. I test. Okay. That's very... Oh wait, still coming back? We'll give it a second. Oh, what I'm trying right now is I'm just trying to bring the shadow for the rest of the tree out a bit more. See if that helps any. I think not quite that way anyhow. It's still not doing the thing, huh? That's so odd. Don't know what's up with it. If I go to like here or something, no, that doesn't help. Alright. So weird. This hasn't happened before. Huh. Oh well, it's just gonna have to be gone for a bit. Sorry guys. It's disappointing. You just remember your fantastically evil idea? Yeah, you're gonna tell me? Do I finally get to know? Put together a video after you finish Baldur's Gate 3, making it seem like you were really, really evil. What? No! That would be evil! I've been doing so much work to try and not be evil, Grace. Then what? He was gonna kill someone! How many times do we have to have this conversation, Grace? You wanna go into the... Hang on. Doot. There you go. Is it back now? No. Huh. Can you take a stranger over you? I didn't! Let me see if it's, hang on. It should technically work. Oh, gotcha. More like that. But yeah, it's... Okie dokie. And I didn't mean to take a stranger over you, Grace, I promise. It's that if you're going to kill someone for no good reason, I'd like you to not. I don't think I'm being super unreasonable. I mean, you assumed she was going to kill. Let's see. She said, "I want to kill them. Let me kill them. Get out of my way. I'm going to kill them." What would you assume in that situation? Like, I feel like it's at some point it's not my fault. You know, girls. No, I don't know that, Grace. You do it all the time. I do not. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. That's tricky. I don't know exactly what's happened there. Yeah, let me just see. Sorry about taking a pause from the art. I'm trying to figure out what happened to my chat box. Because, you know, it's never done this before. Okie dokie. Put that there. Let's see. Not sure if that's gone and worked or not. Okay, it looks to have loaded that somewhat. I refresh this. Maybe now it'll do the thing? Test, test. Well, clearly it's not yet. Still doing that, huh? Still nothing, huh? Okie dokie. Then... try this. maybe if I were to remove the space from this, right? Then try it. Then it says to make sure I put HTTP absolute. So we're going to do so. Ah, boy oh boy. I swear, it's never had problems before. Not once has it had problems before, just now. It just hates me. It just wants me to suffer. Oh, wait? No. What the heck? Okay. Chatbox trying to censor us, apparently, huh? Oh, wait. Could be that my Wi-Fi is having a thing. It looks like that might be the case, because I'm looking here. See how it says there's a network error? So, it could be that's the case. If I had anything with Yellow Maid. Well, at least that would be an explanation. Now, let's see. I guess we're just gonna have to go without for now. It's fine, I can still see chat, it's just that it won't show up on the VOD or anything. A little annoying. Yeah. I would like... I guess I'd like opinions right about now, you know? Like, what we like with this and what we hate. And, like, who agrees with me that it's terrible and everyone should be raising their hands? You know? It's great. No. You really did manage to improve it. Improve, maybe, but not, like, make it good. Top line needs a little more fleshed out. Yeah. Blends in too much. I agree with that. I agree with that very much. The only problem is I don't actually know what to do about that. Because it's definitely an implied line, right? You can tell that there is a line there. It's just that I can't... Whoops. I'm gonna figure out how to manage it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm always gonna be honest and tell you if I see something. That's nice. That's helpful, actually. Very helpful. It's just that I don't know exactly how to make that line more visible. I think in general we just have to make the second tree darker, don't we? Right? Make sure it's in the shadow. I mean, is this second tree even supposed to be in the shadow at all? That's something I keep going back and forth on. Because technically, if it's actually behind this tree and not, like... Technically, if it's behind this tree, it would be in the light, wouldn't it? So... I don't know. And even if it is in the light, that doesn't actually help me with this line here, which is what we're trying to focus on. Which is tricky. So I could technically just outline it a little like that, right? Don't have to fix it on this one. I want to, though. I want it to be good. The background will stay this dark. The tree should become darker, too. No, not necessarily. So it's going to be something else? Yeah. Honestly, I think just, like, hinting, like, this 1 pixel wide line is good enough for now, right? You can tell. What's not good enough is this line going down the middle. I kind of hate it, and I kind of think it should go away forever and ever and ever and ever. There we go. That's good. The trees in the background. Yeah, so it's tricky, Hyvernox. It's really just tricky because I haven't decided how much in the background I want the second tree. Because there will be trees in the background that are darker, but I haven't drawn them yet. I'm drawing the, like, frontmost trees right now. It's just that this second tree is so close to the first one that I was a little uncertain. Like, literally, if I move it to the right a little bit, so that it's not necessarily touching, then I'd be like, oh, of course, just put it in the light. But, you know, like this. But I don't want to do that, because one, it would be covering up that fairy, and obviously I can just move the fairy, but I don't want it, because I like where it is. But I might just move it anyway. I mean, honestly, though, this is, in fact, just better, I think. So we're going to clean this up a little. Okay, we're gonna clean that up. Then we're gonna bring some light on it instead of the dark. And on this one, we do want to erase here. And then gotta kind of start like brushing over some of this. Not all of it necessarily, because it can stay dark lower down. But a lot of this has got to be redone in the green. Not the green, I was looking at the moss. Got to be redone with the proper color instead of the dark. I cannot hide this tree for now. Alright. Oh. Yeah, so we'll make sure we save there. Whoops. Save too much too quick. Alright. If we put this tree back, it's already kind of an improvement. Say kind of because I think we want more of this light to come through. For one. I think we want to erase that and do it properly for 2. Alright. I think I'm just gonna have to be okay with the fairy there being like that. Now, this is coming along really nicely. I feel like it's gone to a good start having vision. That's nice. I'm glad you think so. I'm gonna cheat a little bit for this darker part, and I'm just gonna copy some of the other shadow we have going on. Let's hide tree. back. And over here, we're going to go these two. I'm going to group these actually. And then technically this can actually be there. Right? It won't change anything. Good. And I actually don't need that layer. Group. There. Okie dokie. I'm just gonna like take a chunk. Right? Didn't seem to go to plan. Huh. Alright. We'll just do it one layer at a time then. In fact, don't even really need that. We just get this darkest here because we already know how to do this. Go over it. Alright. I guess that's okay like this. I definitely want to try working on adding more branches to the other ones. I feel like that one might be too much on that side. It's definitely the most noticeable of them. So let's try not that brush, this brush. Let's try actually, instead of doing anything like real about it, just make the tree quote unquote bigger so that it doesn't stick out as much. Yeah, so that's life hacks today. I kind of would like it if it went like that instead. Right? Kind of like that fairy being in front of that tree. I don't think I like the fairies being behind things all that much. So let's... Oh wait, hang on. Oh, huh. Look at that. Twitch is absolutely just not responding there. There might come a time where you guys are unable to talk to me. I'm gonna have to be on Discord from my phone to make sure that's not already being the case. Because, for all I know, you guys could be testing. Okay, you can still talk to me then. Whew. Just had to make sure, because Twitch isn't loading or anything. And it's possible that, yeah, it looks like the music isn't going to load either. So it might be a bit before we get that back. Kinda sucks. Because now it's just my voice, which is not ideal. I kind of, like I was saying a second ago, I kind of don't want the fairy lights to be behind anything. I think they're very pretty and they should be front and center. So we will just put them up here. This project is going to end up with, like, sounds like a situation where new stuff won't load, but old stuff still works. So I need to router reset. I don't know if it's exactly that, because if it's only, like, the OBS chat and stream that hasn't gone down, I guess, like, for example, this is the YouTube page. I mean, you might just be correct, but I don't really want to reset right now. And that, whatever, you're probably right. Probably right. Anyways, we're getting close to 2 hours anyway. Once we hit 2 hours, I might. You had games work, but no browser work. Yeah, lots of games are offline though. You know what we could technically do? Just for experimenting. Could go like that to see how it looks. An online one, yeah. Like RuneScape, it works well with things I don't have open already though. Interesting, interesting. Well, I kind of want to put in another little fairy or two. Over on this side. Since we've established they can go in front of trees a little bit, I'm going to have that be the case here. Doesn't quite have the same effect because it's not in front of the same, like, dark background. That's okay, I think. It would be, actually, really funny if I were to, make the fairies have some kind of hidden message. You know? Don't necessarily know what it would be, but it would be kind of funny. So we'll keep that idea in mind. Right now though, no, no, no. No, no, no. It can't be that complicated. You know, because we only have, like, the placement of the fairies. It's not like I'm gonna spell out the whole thing. So, yeah. um, hey, listen. It's the only acceptable hidden message for them. Uh-huh. Could be, could be. But remember, we can't spell things out, right? We only have the placement of these dots, essentially, right? It's the only thing we can do. I don't know about that, Grace. I'm not so good at drawing people, characters, any of that. Speaking of, I kind of want to look at starting to draw the water a little bit. Not that I have to or anything, but I just kind of want. Probably wise not to just yet, though, because I don't want to lose any of these colors yet. So that's an oh well moment. But later. It's really throwing me off not to have the music here, which is disappointing. Doesn't seem like it's gonna come back anytime soon. I'm surprised that stream avatar still works, but it's like Grace said, I suppose. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's gonna do the thing anytime soon. Tricky. Disappointing. Let's draw another tree. What kind of tree should it be? I don't want it to be too much of a pattern, necessarily. But I don't want to have too many of thick or thin ones, you know? And I definitely want to have, like, more trees back there, like Grace suggested, but it's a little tricky. We are basically at 2 hours, right? And I think I'm gonna end it here. Just so that we can pick it up next time when we have our music and things and I'm not being thrown off by the lack of. And, you know, I have things to do tomorrow, I think. My project things I'm going to be starting doing. Said it was going to be here Friday, but then it updated to be tomorrow, maybe. So we're going to hopefully have plenty of time this week to work on that. Well, we'll see. See you guys next time. I can't even raid out to anyone unless I know that they're online already. Right? Because I'd have to use the chat command for it. But yeah, just gonna stop stream and bye.